back to Takedown MMA. This is our third and final segment for this beautiful Sunday morning in the Mile High City. Evan Herzog of the Fight Magazine, Albert Rosales of Grinders Fitness. We've avoided it for our first two segments as much as we could, but we cannot go on any further without discussing the continued circus of Conor McGregor. Okay, we talked about in the previous segments all of the chaos of UFC 223. Tony Ferguson blowing his LCL on the set of UFC tonight. Max Holloway taking the fight on 6 days' notice, putting his 12-fight win streak and his legacy on the line, but really earning a bunch of respect, then him getting pulled. Then Anthony Pettis going to get the title fight and then asking for too much money, and then he drops off. Then Paul Felder is going to get the title fight, but New York State Athletic Commission says you don't get the fight. All those things would have made for an absolute crazy UFC card, but you add on your Irish double champ, arguably the one of the biggest sporting athletes on the planet, jumping in a plane with 20 of his friends, flying over the pond, getting into New York City, being led into the Barclays Center illegally by his own paid journalist team, goes, surrounds the fighter transportation buses, causes absolute chaos, dolly thrown through windows, chairs thrown, bike racks almost thrown. We got fighters getting cut, fighters being hurt, fighters having to fall off the bill. Conor McGregor.
Well, you know, we've actually touched on this probably 2 or 3 times in the past few weeks about how there's got to be honor and there's got to be a code when you fight, and there's got to be respect and that kind of stuff. And to me, Conor's kind of the one who's led everybody to just talk your way into title fights. You just talk. And he's got the charisma to do it. He's got that personality. Everybody else was trying to be Conor. Well, now Conor has finally got off the deep end. So if you look at it like this, take your top 3 marketable UFC fighters in probably history. Look at John Jones.
See ya.
Nutcase. Okay. Look at Ronda Rousey.
WrestleMania tonight. See ya.
Nutcase. Okay. And now you look at Conor McGregor. You take these people who've never, ever, ever had money before. Never had money. They come up from a hard life. They built their way into this dynasty, and you give them millions and millions and millions of dollars, and you keep telling them they're the best thing to ever happen to Earth. You just keep feeding into their egos time after time and time again, and they don't know how to handle. They don't know how to handle the publicity, the fame, the notoriety, the money. They can't take care of themselves once they get all of that. If you look in the NFL actually has classes for their young athletes as they come up from college on how to take care of yourself, your family, how to take care of your money, how to take care of all the publicity, how to deal with that kind of stuff. And that's not to say the NFL is perfect, because they're not. I mean, you always see crazy people in football too.
Sure.
But at least they're taking the effort to put them through these classes and try and coach them through these situations. And I feel like with McGregor, honestly, he just grew too big for his own good. He thought that this would be okay. The fact that Dana was even saying that through text messages he was talking to Conor, and Conor was saying that he was, sorry about what happened in Chiesa, about his eye. He was sorry about what happened to Ray Borg getting the glass in his eye. He was sorry about scaring Rose. He's sorry about all this stuff, but he still had to do what he had to do. To me, that says you don't truly grasp the reality of the situation you're in. You've got all sorts of charges on you now, and honestly, he's probably going to get a slap on the wrist. He's probably going to have to pay some restitution, to repair the boss, which to him that's a drop in the hat, whatever. But
it's the lawsuits he's going to have to worry about.
Just even if he didn't lose any of the lawsuits, even if he won all of the amount of money he's going to lose in legal fees, just defending against 6-8 fighters that were in there, plus their corners.
And we don't know
that were in there, plus the employee, the guy driving the bus, the security guard that got beat up outside. It's just going to add up. There's going to be people whose uncles are suing that had nothing to do with it, and they're like, oh well, this is my nephew. I'm going to sue too. people are just going to pile onto this lawsuit, and they're just going to, he's going to lose a lot of money in this, and it's ridiculous. The part that gets me the most upset is the fact that there's people out there actually saying, well, he's real. He's keeping it real. He's taking care of his homies. He's taking care of the people he came up with. Listen, if he really wanted to stick up for Artem Lobov, who, by the way, I've always said does not belong in the UFC anyways. The only reason he's there is because he's Conor McGregor's best friend. Right. If you're going to stick up for Lobov, which, that's admirable. Good. Everybody needs to take care of their buddies, right? The way to do that is to get Khabib in the cage, fight him legally, and you got 25 minutes to put your hands on that guy as much as you want to. Okay? But he chose this route where they go up to a bus, all the fighters are in the bus, you start throwing stuff at windows, you got 20 of your goons, and they're all just going to town. Like, even if Khabib would have come out, that fight is going to get broken up.
Yeah, it makes no sense.
Like, if you really want to fight somebody, do it the legal way. Because then you have your 25 minutes. You have your 25 minutes where you can do whatever you want.
Agreed.
Break his arm, break his leg, whatever, knock him out. It doesn't matter. You can make your point there. But by doing it this way, really, he's doing what we already knew he was doing.
He's dodging it.
He's avoiding the fight.
He's dodging
He's completely avoiding the fight.
There's no other sports in the world where if you have an issue with someone, you get to actually sign a legal binding contract to go in there and try to physically cause harm to the person that you have an issue with. Save the whole thing about it being, I've heard that too. Well, look at him stick up for his buddy. I wish dude, come on. He should slap his buddy because his buddy, Artem, is talking out of turn. Me and my girlfriend did a little Godfather marathon this weekend. And, the Don was still slapped down his soldiers if they speak out of turn for him. And so he said some things, Artem, about Khabib on camera on a podcast at some point 2 months ago, talking about this and that, calling Khabib some choice words, questioning his manhood, all these things. Khabib approached him, talked to him about that, asked him. Artem denied it. It's on YouTube. Right. You can find Artem saying the things that he denied to Khabib's face. Conor, if you're the Don, man, if you're the Godfather, go to the source and talk to him. Also, slap your dude around a little bit. Because, also, again, he's not helping him. Artem also is in a position, he shouldn't be making UFC money. He shouldn't have it, and he's fought like 6 straight fights for the UFC, should not be making that money. And Conor just took that money away from him. Now, Conor probably give him his pay. I'm sure he'll give him that. But to me, that whole jumping on the plane and coming over here to save his friend and all that, well, his friend was talking out of line about someone that he doesn't even belong in the same arena with in Khabib Nurmagomedov. Correct. He should realize that. I think that's a big excuse for ultimately what we just talked about, him not wanting the fight. Because, and we've seen this. We've seen Conor do things as he's gone to keep himself in the spotlight without having to fight. After the Mayweather fight,
it's a copy of Floyd Mayweather.
He's learned everything from him. Look, remember what was that, 5-6 months ago when he jumped in the Bellator cage?
Yeah.
Caused the big chaos and a big thing, shoving refs. He's not even a sanctioned corner member. He has no business being in the ring. He still continues to get these things, and even I, who have been the harshest critic on John Jones, I've wrote 6-page papers on why I think he's just the worst for our youth to watch and everything. His stuff wasn't premeditated. He didn't mean to get high, drunk, and slam into a pregnant lady. No, he chose to run, but he didn't go out that night being like, hey, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to get a little toasted, I'm going to get behind the wheel, then I'm going to crash into a lady and run. He didn't do that. And Conor's things are premeditated. He does these things and no remorse.
Well, clearly there's some other stuff going on too, because I saw at least 4 UFC fighters make mention of cocaine and say that Conor was coked out of his mind and blah, blah, blah. So, hey, it's a small circle. People know. So, I mean, there's other stuff going on, and maybe that goes into his lack of self-control.
Look at the behavior. Look at what he weighed in at the police station.
Yeah,
155 pounds.
Yep.
That's small for Conor McGregor. That's small. He used to cut 20 pounds to get to 145. And it shows me that he could have made the fight.
Well,
he's always talking about short nose this, short nose that. He was on championship weight. He could have made the fight with Khabib. And, you know, he dodged this thing and threw dollies instead of getting in the ring. We'll see if they make the fight. I know that they're going to, Dana's already started to soften his tone on Conor.
Well, what I've read was that Conor was supposed to be on 224. That they were trying to get him a fight on 224. And now that's obviously not going to happen.
He had to have known that wasn't... He had to have...
But especially with as strict as the New York Athletic Commission is, the New York State Athletic Commission, as strict as they are, there's got to be suspensions coming. Like, he's not going to fight anytime soon. Like, and if he does, then everything's a mess. You know what I'm saying? Then we need to wipe the slate clean and start over because something's missing.
Well, and if he gets... Now, he does have a felony charge coming his way. If that happens, regardless of who you are, customs,
you're going to lose your
traveling,
visa. Absolutely.
It's going to be hard for him to get a fight here. And, maybe that plays into Russia for the Khabib fight, which I just think will gross out so many people that if he's not allowed to even travel here, to come here to work, and the UFC bends over for him yet again,
right.
and
well, this
takes
isn't
him over,
unheard
I don't
of.
know.
They've done it. They've done it with John Jones, so it's not like they haven't done it before. So
until the commissions put their foot down too and say, hey, look, we're not granting a license or we're gonna suspend for actions that are detrimental outside of the ring. Until those types of things happen, like with John Jones now,
right?
That Dana would have John back in a heartbeat. We've seen that. He's already announced Brock's coming back. Brock was blatantly hot. They don't even care. They had a lawsuit against them with Mark Hunt because Mark says, hey, you knew he was hot, and they still come in. So I completely agree with you. I thought for a split second when I saw that initial interview with Dana White with MMA Junkie right after the whole bus attack happened, I was like, hey, Dana's kind of taking a tone that for once he sounds like maybe he's serious. He brought up drug issues.
Right.
He brought up the fact that Conor just became a father. He brought those things up, and now he is backpedaling so hard and so fast. And the fact that they used the footage for their embedded, and it was like a huge part of the embedded, I think speaks, pretty loudly to where this thing's going. But It all depends on the court in June. We'll see going forward. But until then, I guess it's all speculation. We'll keep speculating if you keep tuning in to check us out, ibtv.us and Roku. This has been our third and final segment for the week. We'll see you next Sunday. Evan Herzog with Fight Magazine, Albert Rosales, Grinders Fitness. Thanks for joining us on TAKEdown.